What's up guys, it's Brandon Flash. Today we're here with my Rivian R1T and I just picked it up from getting full paint protection film, and we're here with Triet from Platinum Auto Wraps, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what to look for with PPF on your truck. Go.
Hey, what's up guys, it's Triet with Tint Pros and Platinum Auto Wraps. We have a brand new Rivian here with a full body Suntek reaction. It's a 12-year warranty. It's one of the newest films on the market. I believe it's the only film with a 12-year warranty, a built-in ceramic coating, and a built-in self-healing. When you get your Rivian with a full body clear bar, make sure that these guys are doing a full body tuck. So if you look at, what we did to Brandon's car, every panel is tucked in. You won't be able to see a seam at all. You can't see a seam around the fenders, around the door edges. You can't see any seams. Everything's just really tucked in. So just make sure that your installer is getting a full tuck job, because you really don't want to get a rock chip right at the edges. So it's really important to get everything all covered up. It's a full body, 12-year warranty, and hydrophobic.
Any thoughts on matte versus clear and how people should decide, or is it just personal preference?
It's personal preference. It's matte on black looks amazing, matte on gray looks amazing. I mean, this blue with the metallic, it's just so pretty, where I'm glad you went with the gloss.
I was really torn because I really like the look of matte and it makes it look very unique. I mean, this looks pretty much factory, maybe slightly a little bit glossier, but the matte, we tried a small sample piece, I'll insert a photo, and it just took a lot of the luster of the color away and made it a lot lighter. Would have looked good, but I think this looks better. Oh,
this color is awesome. But one thing is we did also is that make sure you get the front bumper clear, Bob, because that gets a lot of dings too. Headlights are done. And then one thing I always recommend is all the black trim. Everybody knows over time, it doesn't matter what kind of car you have, unless it's glass, it always scratches up. So make sure you get the clear film on that too.
Yeah, especially on these front doors, because passengers and things are going to use their hand there and just going to get fingerprints, or someone has a ring or anything like that, it's going to scratch it like crazy.
And if you do get your windows tinted, especially the windshield, make sure your installer is really covering down all the edges. You don't want the electronics on these Rivians to get wet at all, so just make sure that whoever's tinting the front windshield knows what they're doing.
Yeah, for reference, I got 35% on the front two windows, and then I got 70% on the windshield, and then 70% on top of the factory built-in tint on the back two windows, including the very back tailgate window, I guess you'd call that.
Other than that, everything looks good.
It looks absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Triet.
Yeah, thank you.
So adding on a bit to what Triet was talking about with making sure that you have all the wrapped edges, things like that, it's also important to talk about the different films. So Expel is who Rivian has partnered with. So they offer a full front end protection package, as well as a full matte wrap package. So let me kind of show you what that covers and kind of what Rivian includes with those different packages. So kind of as Rivian shows on the website, or I think it's actually on Expel's website, if you do the front end protection package, you get both front fenders, hood, bumper, charge port, believe you get headlights, this lower bumper as well. Don't forget that, of course, because that's very low to the ground and definitely going to get hit. You also get mirrors. I don't believe you get the pillars if you get the front end protection package. But if you get the full matte package that Expel and Rivian have partnered with, you get the whole body, of course, in matte Expel paint protection film. But you also get these pillars. These are going to be in glossy, and the front bumper up here is also going to be in glossy, being that those, I think they just make more sense to be in glossy. I think if you're doing the Expel matte package through Rivian, you should also get your B pillars done with glossy. I think that looks really good. Something else I learned throughout this whole process, so I've tried to buy new badges. So like you can see here on the driver door, and then there's also the badge on the rear here. So this one that says Rivian, and then I left off the one that goes here, that there-ish, that is the R1T badge. So I contacted Rivian to try and buy them. Not only is it kind of a pain to try and buy them, I created a service ticket, let it sit for like a day, hoping that they would just send me a quote and I could buy them. But then I didn't hear anything. I called the service support number for Rivian. They weren't all that helpful, unfortunately. So then I decided just to stop into the St. Louis Park, Minnesota service center, which is where my truck was delivered out of. And so they were able to help me more directly. And then they called me this morning with a price because it was towards the end when they were closing yesterday that I swung by. It turns out to get all new badges for this truck, oh, including the front emblem as well, up on the hood here, it's about $450, which is just absolutely crazy. Turns out these side badges on the doors, they are $100 each, apparently due to the labor involved because they're two-tone. They have the silver and the yellow. So definitely, if you're having paint protection film done on your Rivian or wrap or really anything that involves removing those emblems, definitely make sure that the shop you're having do it, or yourself, keeps the emblems, makes a stencil of sorts for how the emblems go back on, and is able to reuse them, unless you really want to spend $450 for new ones. But I know I certainly didn't on a truck with 300 miles with essentially brand new emblems. So let me just give you a kind of full tour here of what the truck looks like with the Suntek Reaction full paint protection film, as well as the Suntek ceramic window tint. So I did drive a little bit, so there's a couple bugs now, but we got the entire hood done one piece. This emblem was removed so that the paint protection film could be tucked all around the edges. The full light bar was paint protection filmed, as well as the headlights, the front bumper, the fog lights, and this lower front bumper. They did not do this matte plastic section, and that's fine. I think that's reasonable. Same with this underbody. That was not done either, but it's a truck, so those will probably just get some wear over time, and that's fine. But they're not painted surfaces, so you don't have to worry as much. Charge port door, of course, was fully protected. Both front fenders, so you can see there's no visible edges at all, even looking for it. Only on the very corners, if you really, really know what you're looking for, can you kind of tell that it has paint protection film. But this Suntek Reaction film is just crazy clear. Also got the mirrors done, of course, both the top and the bottom, because these are going to get covered in bugs as you drive. These pillars are done in paint protection film. Roof, both the front and the side panels here. So the windshield got 70% ceramic window tint. So if you're not familiar with window tint, the way the percentages work is the percentage is how much light is let through the film. So a 70% film is actually a pretty light film. Whereas the sides here, these are 35% window film, so it's darker. Doors were paint protection filmed, as well as the door handles. This emblem was removed and put back on top of the paint protection film. They actually have to use a special 3M tape to get it to stick back onto the 3M Reaction, because it does have that built-in ceramic coating. Rear door, same thing. And the factory paint protection film on the gear guard tunnel door, that was removed because they didn't think it was up to their standards and wanted to have it be matching film, as well as have tucked edges, because the factory one doesn't have tucked edges. You can't even tell on the edges here unless you really, really know what you're looking for. Another thing I had them do is inside here, I had them just put a square of paint protection film. So that way, as you're kind of reaching in here, if it's someone with like nails maybe, they're not scratching the paint inside this little area with that. I did try and have them do some film or vinyl or something on these interior panels, but it doesn't really stick. They showed me they put vinyl on it. These just pop off. They have clips underneath them. There's actually threaded holes under here, so that must be how the gear tunnel shuttle attaches. But essentially, vinyl doesn't really stick. I'm going to try some maybe industrial grade vinyl and be a little bit less caring about how it looks. But I just know that this is going to get scratched like crazy, sliding stuff in and out of the gear tunnel on both sides. Another thing I had them do on all four doors, again, you can barely see it unless you really know what you're looking for. You can kind of see the edge here. So this whole area right here is paint protection filmed. So that way, if you drag your foot up as you're getting in, you're not scratching up the paint in the door sills. This whole panel, of course, paint protection filmed. If you use like the T-Wraps kit, it actually cuts off like here and then along the fender arch. Little silly in my opinion. Another really key area on the Rivian truck that actually I think should be factory paint protection filmed is this upper area of the tailgate. Because when you open this, there's actually no handle or anything. So when you have to go to close it, there's nothing to grab here. You actually have to kind of grab on the paint just like that to shut it, because it's also not power close. A friend of mine with the truck, Tim, he actually has a Silverado, and he's driven with the tailgate down quite a few times and has noted that from the tires, he actually got quite a few rock chips on the tailgate of all places. So something I never would have thought of, but makes total sense when you think about it. Definitely get the whole tailgate paint protection filmed if you're going to be driving with it down, if you're loading up bikes or a dirt bike or lawn tools, whatever the case may be. If you're going to be driving quite a bit with the tailgate down, you're going to want the whole tailgate paint protection filmed, or it's going to get a lot of rock chips. And then we did the exact same thing on this side of the truck as well. On both sides from the factory, there's paint protection film in this little area here. So they removed that as well to be able to do the whole fender as one panel, not have any gaps or anything like that. And would you just look at that? It looks fantastic. I'll give you a full walk around here. I think it actually adds a bit more depth than the factory paint, and the window tint just makes it look totally awesome in my opinion. I'm always a huge fan of window tint, and driving here, I just drove about 20 minutes. You don't even really need sunglasses once you have even that light windshield tint, and it keeps the cabin cooler, though it is about 50 degrees outside here in Minnesota. So not really as needed now, but in the South for summer, it is so nice to keep the cabin cooler with that ceramic tint that blocks a ton of heat. So hopefully this video helps a little bit with your decision making on what kind of paint protection film and what areas you should protect on your vehicle. Whether it's a Rivian or not, it could be anything really. And definitely if you're in the Midwest, so specifically Minnesota, Iowa, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, even Nebraska, I would highly recommend Tint Pros Platinum Auto Wraps. I'm not sponsored by them, but I've personally brought about 10 or 15 vehicles to them for different services, paint protection film, window tint, all that sort of stuff. And it's actually one of the main reasons that I took delivery here in Minnesota instead of in North Carolina, where I actually live. I mean, breaking in a new vehicle with a road trip is also a great experience, and I do have family up here. But one of the main reasons was to be able to get paint protection film right away at a shop that I trusted. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the like button if you haven't already. And I'll see you on the next one.